Topo Cyclone 2, first run in these today. So before I go on today's run, I just want to thank everyone for clicking on this video, and don't forget to run your LSD, runners, which on this channel means like, subscribe, and ding the bell for notifications. It's July, and if you're doing grit, summer grit, for Believe in the Run, then I'm doing it with you, and I'm gonna try and get done by the end of this week with my 300 miles. Well ahead of schedule. I'm about 250 right now. Anyway, out of the box impressions of the Topo Cyclone 2. I did have them on my feet for a few minutes at the store. I'd like to give a shout out to Ultra Running Company in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're one of the few retailers that carries Topo in store as a local running store. I imagine most people will have to get these online. But yeah, extremely light, very soft and flexible. This is a full PIBA midsole with no plate inside of it. 28 millimeters in the heel, 23 in the forefoot for a 5 millimeter drop. It's going to have the trademark Topo foot-shaped, wide forefoot there, which I enjoy. I wear Injinji socks, as many of you will know, so that allows my toes to splay a little bit, and this shoe gives room to do that. Light, airy upper. I've heard other reviewers say it's reminiscent of the New Balance Rebel V2 upper. I'd have to agree with that. It just looks sharp. I can't wait to try it on today's run. Today's run is probably going to be about 14 or 15 miles altogether, and it's going to involve me running into town, acting as a pacer for a couple of friends from work who have been running and training for local 5Ks, and then running back home from town. So yeah, nothing too terribly fast today. I might pick up the pace just to try it out a little bit. And then these are probably going to be the shoe that I take with me on my trip to St. Louis this upcoming week, because they're light and easy to pack and might be able to do a whole lot of things. So I finished pacing my friends Sav and Brittany on their track workout. I'm running home now. Got about 3.5 miles left. I was a little bit behind schedule as per usual, running to the meetup, so I had to run some DFE in order to get there on time, which I did, and they were late, so it was okay. Tried this shoe out at a few different paces, 6-minute pace, 7:30 pace. And getting a good idea of how it operates at different paces. I will certainly do it on a few focused workouts. All right, finished the first run in the Topo Cyclone 2. There they are. 15 miles. I did throw in a few pickups here and there on some different surfaces. 15 miles might be a little bit of a long run to do these shoes in, and I will talk about that a little bit more when I do my comprehensive shoe talk. All right, on to the next run. Okay, so I'm about ready to head out the door on my second run in the Topo Cyclone 2. I just wanted to show you after the first run, after one run, kind of the soiling of the midsole like that. I know I was on several different surfaces, but it was mostly road, like 98% road. And you can see just from where it's stained that this is indeed a beaded form of PIBA, much similar to the Saucony Endorphin series, the Endorphin Speed and the Endorphin Pro. And this is the Endorphin Speed that I reviewed after 250 miles, and you can just tell that the nature of the PIBA in the Topo, it kind of will pick up the grit in a lot of the same ways as this. But if this is any indicator, I can expect this shoe to look like this for quite a while. Whether it retains its spring or not, that's something for down the road. But today's run is going to be another fairly long run, but it's going to have 25 to 30 minutes of marathon pace. So I'm going to see what this does at a mid to high sixes pace for a sustained amount of time. 2.5 minutes in a marathon pace, about 10% done. Derek over there is doing his workout. 12.5 minutes in, about halfway, maintaining 6:29s right now. 20 minutes in, about 5K in, maintaining a 6:28, 6:27. I think we're gonna pull the plug at 4 miles. Choo choo. That's 4 miles at a 6:26. Felt pretty solid. So I'm running home for my cool down now. 4 miles at a 6:26 pace, which is goal marathon pace, maybe even a touch faster. The Topo Cyclone 2 felt pretty good cruising at that pace, not getting any extra help from a plate or anything, but the foam felt good. However, that's only about 26 minutes. To hold that for a longer duration, I don't know how tired the feet would be. We'll see. Hey everyone, I'm here in St. Louis visiting my mother for my third run in the Topo Cyclone 2. I'm going to try and poach a couple of segments near her house. This one, the Riparian Trail, with a counterclockwise loop around Oak Lake and then down to the bottom of the trail, which is about a mile. And actually another segment which is part of that one, I'm going to try and get a 2-for-1, and that's just the Oak Lake loop, which is about 0.4 miles. So we'll see how it does with the Topo on varied surfaces at faster paces. All right, I've just run about a mile or so to get warmed up, and right down there to that left turn there, that's where the segment begins, thereabouts. So I'm going to do a little loop of the lake, then come back there and head down that trail that's to the right from here. Might shake out the legs a little bit more. Yeah, it's a warm day out. We'll see how I'm doing. Here it goes. Finish the pond part ahead of schedule. All right, if I timed it right, which I think I did, I should have taken about 30 seconds off of the Riparian Trail down segment and about 10 or 15 seconds off of just the pond part. We'll see when I finish the run. Hey everyone, still in Chesterfield, Missouri right now, about to do the fourth run in the Topo Cyclone 2, and that's going to be some tempo intervals. It's going to be 6 times 5 minutes at tempo with 1 minute recoveries. And I'm going to do, after a couple mile warm up, I'm going to go down to the greenway on top of the levee down there in the Gumbo Flats, which isn't far away because it's a nice 2 mile stretch of completely flat greenway on top of this levee, and it's a great place to do speed work. I often run there when I'm here visiting in Chesterfield. And after that, I'll be at 50 miles on this shoe, so I'll give a comprehensive review. Oh, that's one. That was not awesome. What I got today, I guess. We'll see how the rest go. halfway done. That means I'm counting down now. That one was second to last. One more. It's choo-choo time. Last one. Here we go. Last one, fast one. You can do anything one time. Oh. Last one done. It was the fastest one. Oh. All right, I gotta rest before I cool down. All right, so those tempo intervals, not quite as fast as I would prefer for a tempo workout. The first one was the slowest one because the first rep always sucks. It was about 6:14 or 6:13 pace. The rest of them, except for the last one, were in the 6:11 to 6:12 range, which is about right if you consider those half dozen 10-mile races I did a couple months ago. Last one was more like a 6:07 because last one, fast one. Not disappointed. Got a dew point of 70 degrees right now, so definitely feeling the air in a bad way. All right, I'm gonna get home, get my thoughts together, and talk about these guys. All right, I'm here for my comprehensive shoe talk about the Topo Cyclone 2. And I got this shoe to 50 miles in a very, very short time. And I guess I have summer grit to thank for that because I've been really putting in the miles. This was my travel shoe, so it was all I ran in while I was in St. Louis as well. I think it took me about 5 days to get there, 4 runs altogether. Anyway, I'm going to start by talking about the fit of this shoe. I talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the video. The fit, for me, is impeccable. It has the Topo wide forefoot, very similar to a lot of ultra shoes. That really fits my forefoot well. I don't have a wide forefoot per se, but I do like to splay my toes. And I feel like I can splay my toes, get a good natural toe off at most paces without really having to think about the fit of the shoe. The upper, very reminiscent of the New Balance Rebel 3 in that I don't really think about it. I think the Rebel 3 is a little more snug than this is, but this is kind of a single layer of mesh that just kind of conforms to my foot well. There's just enough padding in this heel cup here that my foot slides in easily. It feels, you know, hugged gently without too much padding, like something like the Saucony Triumph series might have. The tongue, also a padded tongue, but moderately padded. It's not really thin like a racer's tongue, nor is it really thick like a premium trainer's tongue. The laces, the shoe came out of the box laced in the 7th eyelet, just like this. And I didn't change it because it seemed to work. And I don't know if that's something that Topo did at the factory or if someone tried on this shoe in the store before I did and did that. But it seemed to work fine. I didn't mess with it. I guess it's the 6th eyelet, not the 7th one, but it's the spare. I didn't change it back to the default. Also, the tongue has these little, even though it's not gusseted, it has these little loops on it to keep the tongue from migrating. So yeah, the fit and the lockdown, very good. Don't expect a racer's fit, mainly because of the shape of the shoe. But we will talk about the performance of this shoe in just a moment. Durability, 50 miles in the course of 5 days. It allows me to put some good wear and tear on this shoe. I talked about how the shoe gets soiled easily, and that's mainly a cosmetic thing. And this morning's run, the tempo intervals, you might be able to tell from the video, that was on what looks to be pretty new blacktop, or tarmac as my friends across the pond might call it. So it really stains this white Piba midsole black really easily. And since it's a beaded foam, you can really tell where the scores between the beads are by that staining. And if we look at my most apparent wear pattern in all of my shoes, where I have my foot strike here, in Piba midsole shoes, where the Piba is really flexible, especially an unplated shoe, I tend to get some abrasion on the side here. So this is pretty typical for me, but if I look at where the outsole meets that abrasion, the outsole shows very little, if not any, wear there. So even the shoe was already kind of naturally beveled like this out of the box. That I kind of like that. I think the shoe is going to look like this for a long period of time. This outsole is going to hold up really well. So it's hard to speak to the durability after 50 miles, but if trends are any indicator with my past running shoes, then I think this shoe is going to hold up really well for what it is. And I'll talk about what it is in just a few minutes. So that's the durability. When we talk about how we use a shoe or what we're looking for in a shoe, or back when I was working in running retail and I would talk about what kind of shoe the customer wants or the customer needs based off of his or her biomechanics or goals or whatever, I found that the question that allowed me to meet my customers' needs best was, what type of underfoot experience are you looking for? And the experience with this shoe is it's going to be soft and energetic, not soft like puffy soft or squishy soft, but it's got a little bit of bounce to it. If you think about it as a performance shoe that has some give and some bounce back, then it's like a flexible energy shoe. When I talk about what shoes I'll compare it to, I'll kind of use some other shoes to illustrate that a little bit more. But if you want to feel light on your feet but still get some flexibility there, then that's what you're looking for. Like I said, the upper tends to disappear on my foot. And so I'm really just thinking about the midsole. The midsole flexes and it gives you a little bit of bounce. It's not going to give you that propulsive toe off like you would expect from a plated trainer or a plated racer. This fits in a category of shoes that I think is an important one and I've talked about before, and I would say it's an unplated performance shoe or an unplated workout shoe. Like I've said, I don't think we should necessarily be running in shoes with plates all the time, whether they're Pebax plates or carbon plates or whatever. They have their uses, but I don't want to run all of my runs in them. I think it's better for your running strength and maybe even running health to run in some unplated shoes as well. And in that category, the Topo fits really well. The Topo Cyclone 2 fits really well in that category. Other trainers in that category, I would think of the Nike Streak Fly, which is actually marketed as a racer, but most would agree it's an unplated trainer. The Hyperion Max and the Hyperion Tempo, really, or just the Hyperion now, I guess they call it. The Saucony Kinvara, even though that's really more of a lightweight trainer. The Adidas Adios 8, which again is a racing flat that I think in this day and age would be more of an interval trainer. And I'm going to say the New Balance Rebel V3, even though for me that's more of a daily trainer, but I'm going to include it because it's lightweight and it has a bouncy foam. A little bit too squishy to be a performance trainer for me, but there's a reason why I'm going to include it. And that reason is, if you took the Rebel 3 and the Nike Streak Fly and they got together and had a baby, it would probably come out very similar to this shoe. However, this shoe also bears a suspicious resemblance to the Milkman named Ultra, and that's mainly because of that forefoot fit. So if you have that trainery vibe in the Rebel V3, lightweight trainer vibe, but you get some of that energy from a Piba midsole like you would look for in a Nike Streak Fly, and the Streak Fly is pretty squishy too, but has a little more bounce, then you get this with that Topo wide forefoot that's reminiscent of an Ultra. I think of the Ultra, the shoe they called the One, which they discontinued a while back, and that killed me because I love that shoe. So that's the experience, the comparisons I would draw with this shoe. Uses for this shoe: I used it for several base miles, did some pickups. I did tempo intervals in it today. I ended up spending 30 minutes total at low 6s pace, more of a tempo pace. I spent 26 minutes at a marathon pace a couple days ago. Yesterday I did a segment grab on where I was going closer to a VO2 max effort on mixed terrain. So I've run it through the gamut. I would say that anything where you're going to be picking it up a little bit, going from maybe a fast, easy pace, or DFE pace, if you will, to doing some tempo intervals on the road, then this shoe is great for that. You could use it if you just wanted something lightweight for a base day too. What I would not use it for, I don't know that I would use it for really fast intervals. I could, but for something like that, I might lean more towards the Adios 8. Or go up a notch to the Takumi Sen. But I would hesitate to use this on a long run, like a 20-mile run, or on a recovery run. And that's because with that PIBA midsole, it's very flexible and there's no plate in there to stabilize it. So as I found out after my first couple runs, which were decently long, 15 miles, towards the end of those runs, my feet and my ankles were feeling a bit tired, and that could have to do with summer grit and the fact that I'm gonna have 400 miles by the end of this month, but also just any kind of movement you have in the lower leg or foot area, this is gonna let that movement happen and not really restrict it because of the flexibility and the softness. Even though it's resilient, you do have a softness to that PIBA midsole. One of my viewers actually pointed out in one of my other shoe review videos how much movement I have, how much overpronation I have. And I do, I am an overpronator. So in a shoe like this, when I was starting to feel tired in the lower legs and in the feet, I started thinking about that. And that would be something where if your feet get tired because of excessive movement, excessive motion, inward motion, then that's something to consider. The wide forefoot helps with that, but I would use this for runs of under 90 minutes, training runs of under 90 minutes. That being said, that leaves a lot of room for versatility. At the price, this, if you were to buy it at full price in the United States, it would be $150. Again, you have to think about where it's sold as far as retailers. If you're going to get it online, I would highly encourage you to see if there are any brick and mortar retailers, local running stores, even if they're not local to you, that offer an online shop, just so those stores get supported. But yeah, I really do enjoy this shoe, and I'm going to end up putting a lot of miles on it. I imagine I'll probably get at least 300 good miles on this before it really becomes beat up. And I'm very happy with this shoe. So that is my shoe talk for the Topo Cyclone 2. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or share, and ding the bell for notifications. Also consider following me on Instagram. My handle is singer-songrunner. I'll share that in the video description. And if you want to follow me on Strava, I will share that as well. Thank you for tuning in, guys.